Is there anything that you can point to during your time as Attorney General or something, if you were to be governor, to curb corruption in the likes of EB-5, which you kind of just mentioned, and also in the Gear Up scandal?
Sure. I know you said one thing, but I want to say a couple things, okay? From a proposing legislation side to fix the law on it, that was last year's Senate bill that had overwhelming support from the Republicans and the Democrats. And what it did is it put in the whistleblower provisions, it put in heightened felony standards, and it took away that presumptive probation. So we did that. I want to say we, it was an Attorney General bill, but it was all of the legislature, Republican and Democrat. You know, I always say a big thing is dealing with transparency. I mean, if you look at transparency as an important part of, you know, opening the curtain so people are seeing what the government is doing with their money. And you've seen me as Attorney General when I first became Attorney General, joint task force with the governor, several important bills. Not all of them passed. We've actually kept working on them, and that mugshot bill finally passed last session. So sometimes it's hard work and determination. I've openly said I think it's time for another one of those governor, attorney general task forces. I won't be your next attorney general. I hope to be your next governor, but I'm very open to joining with the attorney general. Having served as attorney general by then a decade, I see the importance of having the attorney general part of that conversation, and I would invite, I think there's 5 announced attorney general candidates, or 4. I would invite them into that conversation. You've also seen last year, I put the task force together on openness and transparency in the criminal justice system. And I'll be frank with you, we're going down the road pretty well, and then some Marcy's Law issues came up, and I don't want to say we got sidetracked, but we got slowed down. And I included the media and the public as part of that task force. We brought one bill. I think there's an opportunity. I mean, there's still more conversation going on about Marcy's Law. I issued those Attorney General opinions that really brought transparency into Marcy's Law to say that police reports could be, in fact, released to an insurance company, and some of that would be not hidden. But I think to answer your question is, law changes, they've already been done, but I recognize there's always room for improvement, and there's always that next case that comes up, and maybe it's something we didn't think of, so to keep an eye on that. But I think then a level of transparency, and thirdly, oversight. You know, those are federal programs. Those are federal tax dollars. I can pretty much, having investigated those 2 cases, suggest there wasn't a lot of federal oversight. On the state side, I mean, depending upon, if you're talking EB-5, the oversight's the Governor's Office of Economic Development, and then the legislature through appropriations. You know, some people say, wasn't it the Attorney General? I don't do oversight of money. I am the hammer. So in other words, if the oversight fails, I'm the guy you get to meet. And usually it's not very pleasant because it's a prosecution. On the Gear Up side, oversight is with the Federal Department of Education. You've seen with what I've been trying to do in a courtroom with Microsoft and other things, you can imagine how frustrated I am of the lack of federal oversight and frankly even doing anything with respect to those federal dollars. And then that oversight is with the Secretary of Education, and again back to the legislature and appropriations. And I think that if you're going to address corruption, those 3 components are important. And you've seen the action that I've taken. I haven't just stood around and issued releases about investigations or talked about things. I've brought bills and passed bills. I brought prosecutions. And again, in the Gear Up, those 3 individuals are presumed innocent. They're scheduled for trial March 1st through the 9th, and then at the end of June. I'm going to keep making sure that we fight for justice on those cases. I've used up my time. I just want to close by saying thank you. Again, this community, as an Attorney General, has been very, very good to me. I appreciate your law enforcement. You know, I don't get to come to Aberdeen as often as I come to other places because Chris White is working hard for you. I mean, I don't make any bones about it. I think he's going to be a great Attorney General someday. So I thank you for that. I thank you for the members that you send in the legislatures. I see David sitting there. David was on Judiciary and helped me in a lot of different ways, and that's important. It's your local elections, whether it's for your state's attorney or your sheriff or your county commission or your members of your legislature are important. And you send good people, and I appreciate that. I want to be your governor, like I started out with. I fight for you every day as your attorney general, and if you bless me to be your governor, I'll keep fighting for you every day in the future of your kids. Thank you so much. I'll stick around here a little bit too if you have some questions, but I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.